Welcome to the Satori Experience. We're your hosts. I'm Damien.
And I'm Neil.
And we are passionate about helping people rewrite their life story.
In each episode, we explore the stories we tell ourselves, the ones that quietly shape our choices and hold us back from living our best lives.
We do this by bridging science and spirituality, modern tools with ancient techniques.
It's about decoding your patterns, disrupting what no longer serves you, and designing a life that feels truly aligned with your soul.
Because transformation isn't a destination, it's an experience. And your Satori, that moment of sudden clarity and awakening, can happen right here, right now. Hello and welcome to the Satori Experience. I am Damien.
And I'm Neil.
And today we have a brave soul that has volunteered their time and to share their story with us. So welcome to the podcast, Yas.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, for those that don't know you, can you give you a bit of a elevator pitch, or if you're on a first date, how would you describe yourself?
How would I describe myself? Well, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm just gonna keep it straight up. I'm a pretty chill guy. I love to have just genuine conversations with people. It could be about anything and anything and everything, so to speak. I don't really like talking about just what's your accommodation, what's your occupation, what's your this and that. I feel like it's just very surface level conversations. I like to get into the nitty gritty with people, and that kind of makes up for good conversation. And I'm able to get comfortable with people relatively quickly, so to speak. And then next thing you know, I'm pretty much best friends with them at the end of it. So, yeah, here we are.
Yeah, I could tell that from your vibe. You got a very gentle soul. That's I like that about you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I've been told that quite a bit.
Yeah, it's disarming. You're not like too intense. You're like just chilled, and it's as I said, it's very disarming, and it's a charming quality to have.
Appreciate that. And like I said earlier, it's kind of like Lucifer in that way, just being able to learn about you very quickly, but not in a way that I'm gonna turn my back on you or backstab.
Yeah.
It's just like, thank you so much for telling me about all these things about you. So
that's great. That's a good quality to have. And
Lucifer in the TV series was not the bad guy, right? Like, from my understanding, he was a fallen angel.
Yeah.
He was here to kind of was he demon hunting? I haven't watched the whole.
He was working with one of the cops, and then I think they were dismantling. They're just trying to catch the crooks and stuff and whatnot, and his ability was just asking them, what's your deepest, darkest desire, and then they just say whatever blurts out, whatever comes to mind. It's like secrets, it's pretty cool, but he never uses it in a negative way. That's why I kind of referred to Lucifer earlier. So
yeah, nice one. So just to give the podcast a bit more structure, what can we do for you basically? What kind of powers can we use to help you in life?
With regards to that, I think the reason why I came on this podcast is because there's this internal, how would you put it, narrative that I've constructed growing up, where I've just been in an environment where everything's just been negative and just so hard for me to kind of break out from this prison, so to speak. And I want to be able to kind of move on from that, and that's kind of why I moved to Australia from New Zealand. And just trying to break out from that negative space and just start anew, so to speak. Ever since I got here, it's getting there, for sure, but it's still lingering around in the background, and I just want to completely cut off myself from it. So that's why I'm here.
Interesting. And is that originated, I guess, from your family, right? Was it a particular parent, or was it everyone, or?
I think it was. Yeah, everyone involved. I mean, it was mainly parents, so to speak, and I'm not trying to shame my parents, but in terms of the way I grew up, so they did actually help me on the financial side of things. Because I was an only child, I got a lot of things, I was spoiled. I had a lot of, I could get anything I wanted growing up, which is good, but they never really helped me when it came to the emotional side of things. They kind of shut that part off. Growing up, I've never really seen my parents love each other at all. They'd be sleeping in two different rooms, or even if they were sleeping in the same bedroom or same bed, they'd be sleeping in the opposite directions. They wouldn't even look.
Oh wow,
that's pretty.
It's rough.
extreme.
And so my perception of love has just been kind of foggy because of that. And so growing up, seeing that it didn't really help with my relationships with other people, and I guess myself as well. And on top of that, like, you know, I love my mom to death, but she came from a background where, how would you put it, very negatively orientated, and you kind of just have to follow what everyone else is doing, kind of like following a flock of sheep. So if you do anything outside of the ordinary, then you kind of get shamed or judged for it. And so that's why I kind of live a bit of a reclusive lifestyle when I was living with parents. I chose not to tell them about anything in my personal life because I know I'd be judged on it.
Yep.
And I don't like being in that space, and it kind of bogged my self-confidence down. My self-esteem was pretty much, you know, a shit show as well. And so, yeah, like that's why I moved here, and hopefully I can, you know, move past from it and grow to be a better person. So,
Wow, no, I admire you for even taking the leap of faith, or you know. So yeah, so that's already a good start.
yeah, I mean, I could tell that you guys were, you know, really good people from the second I met you. So it's
There's still time to change your mind.
I guess we'll see. But yeah.
Cool. Neil, did you have anything you want to add?
In terms of, you said your self-esteem suffered a lot. Were your parents not very supportive? Did they talk down to you? Were they?
A bit of everything.
Yeah, a bit of everything. Okay. Like, do you know the languages of love? The 5 languages, love languages. Do you have an idea of like what their love languages were for you?
With me,
Definitely not words of affirmation by the sounds of it. That was like low.
Was it defamation?
yeah, it was a defamation. Yeah, pretty much. I think physical touch in a way, like, you know, they wanted to hug me and stuff.
Okay, interesting.
That's interesting for Asian parents.
That's one thing, I guess. Quality time, I don't know. It's like I tried to reach out and spend time with them, you know, growing up, but they just feel as though they have other priorities, or there's just always something there that like puts me on the low end of their priority list, and it's kind of shitty, not gonna lie. So, so yeah, like there's a reason why I got close to my aunt that I mentioned earlier, who passed, because growing up, albeit my parents did struggle financially when we first moved to New Zealand. You know, we were just trying to make ends meet, so to speak. But like, so they started working extra jobs and stuff, you know, just trying to cut corners on costs and whatnot, and so they kind of neglected me in that sense, and I'm completely fine with that, because, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And so they ended up, you know, letting me get taken care of by the aunt. So I'd be always going over to their house.
Okay, that was like your second mum.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what I said in the eulogy that I said last year. And so I felt like I was just being passed around from family to family, because, like, you know, parents are always too busy doing certain things, and even when I wanted to spend time with them, it felt as though they just didn't really care, even though they said they did. So it just, like I said, I love my parents to death, and I want to give them everything in this life, but it's just hard when they, you know, their actions don't really line up with the words. So,
can you give an example? Like,
okay, sure. So I was in a 5-year relationship with somebody. It took me a year or two to kind of get over the hurdle of, you know, being comfortable of telling them that, you know, I have a girlfriend. Okay. This is when I was 19, 20 years old. Yeah. So when I, you know, broke the news to them and said, like, look, I'm in a good relationship with my partner, they were like, oh, we're happy for you and all this and that, but there was this underlying theme, but they're just very traditional. For me to go along the lines of, okay, you need to have a Lunken wife, you know, she's got to have a good job, good this, good that. Like, there's already like these preconceived notions on what to expect, and so my ex at the time broke all of those things.
Okay.
Right? Like, I didn't. Yeah. So when I broke the news to them, they were like, "Oh, we're so happy for you." But then when I broke up with them, I was in shambles when I broke up. When I told my parents about it, the first thing my mom said was, "Oh, thank God."
Jeez.
Like, and in my head, I'm like, okay, so this whole time you've been actually hiding this from me. You said you were happy before, but now all of a sudden you're like, oh, thank God. You know, that's just one of the things, but that really, like, took a toll on me, because it's like, how can I trust you, like with what you're saying, when like all the true stuff comes out at the end. It's a bit of a shitty thing to do. So that's one of the things. And so another thing as well, I'm planning on signing up to a weighted calisthenics competition soon enough.
Oh, nice.
So and like I'm pretty, just trying to be humble, but like pretty strong in those lifts.
Yeah.
So
You're pretty jacked. I can tell. We can tell. The camera can pick it up. You don't.
I mean, he's wearing the baggy shirt. He's like hiding it.
They're trying to hide it. No.
Damien's a calisthenics guy as well.
Yeah, not weighted. I do a bit of weighted. Not to brag.
I'm not weighted.
I just wear tight t-shirts all the time. That's the trick. That's the trick.
But yeah, when I told my parents I was signing up to this calisthenics thing, Mom straight up said, "Oh, like, shut up! Just don't even bother doing something like that." And already, like, what the heck? Like, why would you say something like that? If this is something that I'm not like passionate about, or something that I really care about, why do you feel like you need to say that? It's just like, okay, so I have to just follow the script that you guys have, like from start to finish, like, and that's a recipe for disaster in my opinion. So, that's just one of the few things, but I can keep going on, but. This will be like a 4
I think it's pretty clear what's happening. Like, but you can share as much as you want, because.
So it sounds like it's mainly your mum though. Like, is your dad also a factor?
It's tricky with Dad, because he's like, he just follows what Mom says.
Okay.
So he's just like, he's just there in the background. Like, he just, whatever Mom says, he just further reinforces it. Yeah. It's like, I'm not trying to shame my dad. Like, it just feels as though his opinion gets outweighed by Mom, and he's like, all right, whatever Mom says, you just go ahead and stick with that. So he doesn't retaliate or anything, so to speak. So
were they an arranged marriage?
Yeah.
Okay. That I had that feeling. So marriage of convenience, and like divorce rates are really low in India and like the subcontinent generally, right? So. Even people, they say it's successful, but because you can't really divorce, right? It's not really, it's frowned upon. It's still like you would be an outcast if you.
Oh, 100%.
Is that the thinking? Yeah.
It's also weird because I don't really look like my parents either.
Oh, really?
And they've supposedly had me when they were in their 40s. So I'm like, okay, am I adopted? Like.
Oh, interesting.
So that's a bombshell. Jeez.
Have you ever asked them?
I did, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we had you at 40." So.
Snip their hair, do a DNA test. And then the truth will come out.
Yeah, because every time like my dad would like make a joke, to like a receptionist or something, he's like, "Oh, he looks just like me, right?" And then receptionist is like,
"You need to fix the glasses, man. You can't."
Oh, interesting.
So yeah,
is that a real possibility? You think like that you were adopted? Okay.
It could be. It's just funny because a lot of my friends are also in the same round as well. Like their parents had them, conceived them when they were in their early 40s as well. They don't really look like their parents either. So I'm like, I don't know if there's a pattern or anything, but it just seems a bit fishy. So
I mean, to have kids in your 40s, that's quite rare already, and especially for like a traditional Lankan family, it's like that's usually they have them like 20s, early 20s. So
yeah, why do you think they were late? Like why? Because arranged marriage is normally earlier as well.
Yeah, like I've never really delved deep into that, and my parents answer everything on a surface level as well. They don't really.
They're like spies, I think. I think your parents are spies.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's.
Plot thickens. It's. I thought there were certain things that makes a lot of sense. Like if you grew up in an environment where you felt like you were adopted or unwanted or some sort, they were hiding things from you. It
seems a bit fishy, yeah.
I would be questioning it. Like, I mean, we're just speculating. Hopefully, biological parents, but
I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter. Like, it's like how do they treat you? It sounded like you had one good role model in your auntie, and that was like another. Was there other ones?
I think I love how you're like, were the other ones. But my dad, in a way, like I take a lot of my dad in the sense that he's very he is supportive to some degree, but I look up to him in the sense that he does a lot of good things. Like he tries to take care of people. Every time he comes into a room, like the whole room kind of vibe goes up. and he's just very genuine sometimes. But it's just when mom's around, it's just a different story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
So he's better when your mom's not around.
Okay, pretty much. It sounds bad, but
She's like a tiger mom or something. Like she seems pretty feisty or like strong personality.
she's got a very strong.
When's her birthday?
She's March 5th.
She's a Pisces.
Yeah. Her background is she's got 7 siblings, and she's the oldest one.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, so
and it's
fairly
constant level of competition between everyone. And so it becomes a game of which son is better or which daughter is better. So
yeah.
That's where it all comes from. Like that's why whenever I, like, for example, if I were to tell parents like, oh, my best friend got a new job or something, my mom would be like, oh, you should have gone down that route. Or like, oh, like my best friend got an A, well, I got a B. It's like, you should have done better. It's like there's no winning, you know?
Yeah.
I could get into a good university, I could get good marks and stuff, but there's always comparison, and I'm sure you would have felt that as well. Like,
Yeah, when I was younger.
yeah, it's just, I think that's also part of why I have a bit of low self-esteem. But I mean, it's a lot better now, but before it was really
I'm curious, how did you improve your self-esteem from before?
just being, how did I improve?
Like you said, it's a lot better. So
That's because I'm just away from it.
Oh, okay. So wow. So when you're with them, they kind of drag your
Oh, yeah.
self-esteem.
My mom's also very OCD.
Okay.
So everything has to be perfect in her head. So, for example, if I were in the kitchen and I were to take a spoon, it could be any spoon, she'd be like, no, you can't use that spoon. That spoon is predominantly for this, thing. There's fucking 50 spoons, Mom. Are you serious? Like, it's stuff like that.
Interesting.
And so, even like when it comes to learning things, like I did physics, biology, chemistry and stuff growing up. My mom was a biology teacher at some point in her career.
Okay.
And so, like, whenever we're learning description, like, she would help me with exams and whatnot. And so a lot of the times in, biology exams, they ask you what definitions are for certain things. I would have to learn everything from, like, for a definition, it could be like a paragraph or an essay. I would have to know every word in that paragraph, otherwise it's wrong.
Oh my
It's
god.
not much about actually understanding what it is. It's more so about how much you memorize. So, like, I could be completely right, and my mom would be like, yeah, it's wrong because you're missing that or part.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy. It's really bad.
Wow.
And so it led to a lot of stuttering growing up as well because I just did. But, so it just made it hard for me to articulate myself because I felt as though every time I said something, my mom was always judging by the way how I spoke.
Yeah.
And so it led me to stutter a lot, and I couldn't say things certainly and all that. And then if you accompany that with mom also bogging me down, low self, you can see where the low self-esteem came from. You can see where the stuttering came from. You can see all of this. And so at some point, about like 2-3 years ago, I ended up moving away from parents to one of my cousin's house back in New Zealand, like in Rotorua. So it's around 3 hours away from Auckland. Okay. It's down south. I got a job there. So I was really happy. I ended up moving there.
Yeah.
And then within like the first 2-3 weeks of being there, everything changed. My self-confidence went up. Everything just started, getting better and better. Just my relationship with my partner was getting better at the time. Like I could actually speak better. My stuttering started to go away, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, where's this coming from? And then it also felt as though like there's like that control dynamic between me and mom. Like mom always feels the need to control my life.
Yeah.
And so because my self-esteem was going up because I was away, it felt as though her grasp on me was kind of like loosening up.
Yeah.
And then, so like I felt, a sense of confidence in those 3-4 months of being there, but then I ended up breaking up with my partner at the time, and she wanted, it was just really complicated, and I ended up leaving my job to come back to Auckland, and then the stuttering came back, and everything else came back. My self-confidence went down. And I was trying to figure out what it was, what the root cause of it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's mom and parents and all this and that. So
Because you moved back into with your folks.
exactly. So mom really wanted me back, but I was reluctant. But ever since then, like I'm like, okay, I need to get the help way. So yeah.
I mean, thanks for sharing that. That's
Hopefully mom doesn't watch this podcast.
No, we'll send it to her afterwards.
I love you, mom.
But we say good things about your mum as well. So
We'll
balance it out.
Yeah, we'll balance it
So
out.
try-
Like that was
try
easily. The
It's-
uncuts. Director's cut.
It's really interesting. I mean, you're making our job easy because like you pretty much know what the root cause is. It's it's like overwhelmingly your mum. Like probably 80%. Let's say 80%, just to be fair.
Yeah. I'll get into the last 20, and it's going to be pretty dark, but.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sure.
It's, you want me to get into it?
Oh yeah, if you want.
Okay. All right. You might want to cut this out.
Oh, we can decide. Like you can decide afterwards.
Okay. Sure. So when I was around year 10, year 11, this was like in high school. I had a really rough time. Not gonna lie. I was like in the lowest point of my life. It, like suicidal thoughts and all this and that. It was rough because I didn't really have anyone to go to. Being the only child, there's no really anyone I could talk to about and all this and that. And there was just a lot of bad things happening. I mean, relationship with mom and dad, it was kind of deteriorating. There were more fights than anything. And I come home to just always like crazy shit happening in the house. And it's not like it was particularly violent, but it was just unjust. It was just, you just didn't feel good being there. It was just and on top of that, it's just my grades were declining. Everything was just going downhill. And then it reached a point where I started, okay, this is going to be a bombshell, but at that point, I didn't really know who to go to, and I felt like my life was falling apart. A lot of negative thoughts, almost hurt myself. And I started blaming other things around me as opposed to myself, And the one thing that I was like, okay, you know what, fuck this. I started saying this line in particular. It's like, fuck God. Like I was saying that so much to the point where it became second nature. So from that point on up until now, like it's still in the back of my head. I just keep saying it over and over again because it's just like, why am I going through all of this? Yeah. And so, like, I'm trying to move on from that. Like, it's not me anymore. I try my best to do a lot of good things. I feed the homeless. I do this and that. But it's just, I need to get this thing out of my head. Like, and it's just a negative thing, and I keep blaming it on that for some odd reason. I just maybe just to kind of comfort me, at the time. But and so that's again why I'm here. Like, I want to kind of get past that hurdle, and it's getting there. Like, again, because I'm away from parents, that negative energy is like not there as much, but it's still lingering on. And I just want to close that chapter in my life and just move on to the next. So hopefully that.
So do you consider yourself like a believer? Are you an atheist or?
I'm actually Buddhist. But when I say God, I meant Buddha. Like, but yeah. And so because
Were you brought up Buddhist?
my dad's very religious.
Okay.
So growing up, but here's the thing, like my dad is so religious to the point where he's a bit extreme. So he go to soothsayers, we go to rituals where they chop the chicken's heads off and stuff it's crazy stuff, and I shouldn't be seeing this one.
Wait, this is Buddhism?
Extreme Buddhism. Man.
Yeah, extreme.
What, they're cutting chickens' heads off in Buddhism?
That's right. It didn't seem right in my head. This is when I was 11, 12 years old.
Wow.
I'm just what, at what point in Buddhism, this, you know what I mean? So he's just been brainwashed into going down that route, and he's just pushing that agenda against me. And yeah, so that's why when I was in year 11, I'm proclamation to the Buddha. I just saying fuck you kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it just led me to go down that route, and I just hated myself for it, but I just didn't know what else to do in that moment. I was just a young kid. I was only 14 years old. And now it's just trying to get over that hurdle and just start anew, so to speak. So, and every time I say that, there's always negative stuff happening in my life, which makes sense. But
So you still believe in God?
Or
a higher power?
higher power. Yeah. I'm more into the belief of karma. What goes around comes around. If you do good things in life, good things come back to you. If you were to I am also Buddhist, but not as Buddhist compared to my parents, my dad in particular. I think, like I said, he treats it as a religion slash like religion in the sense that it's just this God. You got to follow this God. You got to pray and you got to do this and that. But in my perception is Buddhist is a practice. You got these principles that you follow. Do good, be compassionate, do this and that. I'd rather spend 3 hours going around feeding homeless people or like feeding stray cats and dogs than going to a temple and praying for 3 hours straight. Like in my head, I just feel like that seems a bit more tangible compared to something that's like, okay, well, you're just praying. Like there's not really much to it. Maybe I'm skeptical. I don't know. But that's just how I see things. So yeah.
Remind me, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, did you tell me a story last time about a cat saved your life as well?
Yeah, you did remember.
Yeah, what's the story behind that?
So there were 2 points in my life where really dark periods, and that first period was what I said earlier about year 11 going through all of that. I don't know how I got over that hurdle, but I'm glad I did. The second hurdle was just before I moved to Rotorua. That I was struggling to find a job because FYI, I was doing engineering, mechanical, and it was really hard because COVID happened around that time. I didn't have any experience under my belt. I literally was trying left, right, and center to get a job. I spent months on it and just getting rejection letters left, right, and center, and it was really tough at the time. And I was going through a tough break with my partner as well, and everything was just falling apart. And I remember being in the second floor of my house that I was living in. That's where the lounge is. So the bedrooms and stuff on the bottom floor, the lounge is at the top. So I'd be upstairs, always just rewriting my cover letters and CVs and whatnot, just trying to hone in on everything. There was one point in time where I just lost it. Like I just couldn't do it because I just felt worthless, that period, I'm just whatever. I need a sign though, And then what do you know? I think a day or two later, I just see this black cat, just come out of nowhere. So affectionate, beautiful little thing, comes up to me out of nowhere, and then just starts purring and just being around me. And I was like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? And then within the first week or two, this thing would always come over to my house, just be around me and nobody else. Yeah. I let it into the house one time and it stayed in my room for a brief moment. The next morning, I could just hear it meowing in the front door, begging to come inside.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, there's got to be something to this. And then literally months go by, this cat literally saved my life. It was, as in I didn't have anyone to go to. There was nothing around me to support me at the time. And so for this cat to come into my life just really got me out of that space, that negative space. And so I credit a lot of my life to that, that little creature that, once was there. So I think I'm getting a tattoo of the cat at some point. So, and so that kind of led me to go down this route of I love animals, love, all this and that. And that's why whenever I go to Lankai, I try my best to feed as many humans and cat and animals, like dogs and cats in particular. So and this is not to showboat or anything. This is just something I do. I don't.
Got your humble T-shirt on, so we can tell you're being humble,
But it's just that's just how I operate. So
I guess we're talking more about we're more in the disrupt phase because you've kind of decoded, you've shared your story, and now it's about disrupting the stories that are controlling your life in a sense. I mean, I wrote a point down. It's your mum is pretty much like kryptonite. You're Superman. Each time she comes near you, it just weakens you, and it's how do we change that? Because as long as she lives, she's always going to be kind of weakening that sense. Even her presence, even the thoughts can weaken you. So it's about letting go of that. I guess it's not necessarily the story, but the meaning you associate, you give to mum. When you see someone on your phone, someone calls you and you go, and then when you see someone you like, you say, it's that kind of thing. Each time you think about your mum, you got to change the meaning, and we can do that as well.
I picked a couple of cards for you, channeling the energy of what's blocking, what you've been through, and first card is the Five of Swords. So You can tell from the image, it's someone who's been battered. Their head's like, it's like a massive migraine, but just feeling. There's even like blood in the background. It's like a bloody journey that you've taken, not literally, but just like feeling like you've been battered and bruised on this journey and completely confused. And the archetype card that I pulled was the mother card. So there's a healthy expression of the mother, right? Like mothers can be like nurturing, patient, unconditional love, and like the joy of giving birth to something. But then the shadow aspects, which the card is smothering or abandoning children. So she does both. She smothers you, and then when you growing up, you felt abandoned at the same time. And she's also instills guilt in you when you try to pursue independence. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, it's close to home.
Yeah. So this is like she's acting out a lot of the negative traits of it, and that's where you've got this negative attachment to her. So,
You know your attachment style?
I'm secure with a little bit of like leaning towards anxious. A little bit, nothing too.
You know, there's like attachment styles in general, and then there's like specific attachments, like with your mum, your dad, and then there's also your like, partner, and then there's a general. So you can actually be more granular in terms of your attachment styles, because some people like you're not just like secure with everyone. Some people trigger you or something like that. So
Okay.
it's like
I mean, if you can give me some examples on what type of attachment.
okay. So it's a matrix, but let's just call it a spectrum. There's I'll give you the examples. So there's anxious attachment, which is someone that is more needy in relationships. They need that confirmation of connection. That there's emotional connection because connection provides safety. There's also avoidant, which is mostly me, I guess. I'm pretty avoidant, but I worked on it, so take that. And that's someone that doesn't find safety in relationships, so they can only rely. They become more hyper independent, self-reliant, because relationships equals pain. Generally, that's the story they tell themselves. Then there's the secure, which is like it's a good balance because they can basically, it's how you navigate relationships, but also to do with how you navigate conflict. Like when you have conflict, do you run away or do you like try to appease and everything like that? So ideally we want to be secure, but the so-called worst one, it's called anxious avoidant or disorganized.
Was it dismissive as well? Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Dismissive. Yes, I think that's the dismissive avoidant.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah. So the disorganized is a combination of anxious and avoidant. They're on a spectrum because sometimes it's like a parent sometimes they give you all the love and affection and you feel safe, and then sometimes they abuse you, and it's like in your head, your mind's like, what the fuck is going on? You love me, but you're beating me. So it creates that confusion, and they have that ambivalence to relationships because they feel safe at one point and then they feel threatened.
It's kind of like trauma bonding in a way, to some degree, right?
What do you mean by that?
It's like you're kind of like playing hot and cold, and you just.
Oh yeah, so
That dynamic where
yeah,
it just keeps you in.
yeah,
It's kind of like a drug.
For unhealthy people like me, it can work because like in relationships, I'm not a relationship expert, but I do study a lot of this. So just say you're an anxious person, you always crave validation and connection and closeness, and I'm avoidant. So then you try to always, and it's a weird relationship, but you're trying to get something from me, and I'm like, the more you come close, the more I detach, and then like it's kind of like creating attraction in you. But when you kind of if you flip over to the avoidant, if you're like the anxious avoidant type, then you become avoidant. And if it triggers my anxious needs, then I'll start chasing you. So it's like it's kind of like that. Yeah, hot. The hot cold relationships. It happens a lot. So
I mean, I was in a relationship with a dismissive avoidant a couple months ago. I think you pulled out one of those cards. As well. It was the worst. Oh, man, considering someone who's secure and leaning towards, anxious.
Yeah.
She was just blown out avoidant, and that dynamic just ruined me for a couple of months. But I'm over that now.
Yeah.
It's about 99%. But I just know, like, moving forward, never again when it comes to any avoidance. So.
I mean, like the truth is, a lot of us are a mix of both because, like, sometimes it's like depending on our core wounds. Like I have, and avoiding is actually just anxious as well. Like they have. You're not just always avoidant. Sometimes they're just avoidant because that's what they learn to. That's a strategy they use to protect them when they're growing up. But then they still have the need to be. We all have needs to for comfort and connection. So it's like, so I try not to be so black and white about, oh, you're an avoidant, that's all you are, because like we all have different core wounds, and yeah,
and it can also change as
it
years
completely
go on
change.
as well.
Yeah.
That's what my the person that I'm talking to right now is telling me as well. It's like you don't just want to be blanketed into one place. It's always, you can mold yourself into other parts as well. So
yeah, I mean, ideally you want to be secure, and that's just about regulating your own nervous system state and just having strategies to deal with conflict and just general strategies about keeping relationships healthy rather than just arguing or running away all the time or being over like needy.
Sorry,
no, it's all good.
Can you also have those sort of attachments with not just your partner, but also with your parents and stuff as well, like different attachments?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I was saying that you're not just one type. You might be secure with friends, but you might be avoidant with mom, and then might be anxious with dad, and then relationship-wise, you could be anxious avoidant. You could it's just different combinations. That's why it's not so black and white. So, yeah.
It sounds like your mum is both anxious and avoidant. Is that?
She's very, I think, leaning towards anxious. I wouldn't definitely not say secure. Okay. So yeah, probably avoidant as well.
Yeah. It sounds like when she has you, then she doesn't give you energy and attention. Like because she seemed like she gave over a lot of her motherly duties to her best friend. So she wasn't being anxious in that scenario, was she? Or she sounded more avoided there.
She was, more anxious. I think she was more anxious, more than anything. I wouldn't say avoidant as such, but yeah. Like whenever I have the conversation with mom, she always wants to talk to me. She always wants to.
That must be confusing,
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, 100%. So it's
So you play out the avoidant role?
To put it simply, I try and not. Yeah. That's why I say I try and keep it condensed down to maybe 5-10 minutes of just talking with them. Keep it at a surface level and then just move on with the day. Otherwise, it's gonna just drain me, and I don't want that. So,
do you find it hard to say no to them? To your mum, I guess.
Well, it's funny you mention that because let me try and segue slightly away from that. But when I grew up, I was a yes man. I'd say yes to whatever my mom and dad would say. But I didn't really have a spine growing up. So when I was around 18, 19, started hanging out with some friends. I wouldn't say they were particularly rebellious. They were obviously part of the Lanka community and all this. And they were my best friends.
Yeah.
There was one in particular that really kind of shaped me into the man. I credit him, a lot because he was the one person that was the black sheep in our community because he just broke all the rules. He ended up leaving New Zealand to go to Brisbane, and he stayed in Brisbane for a couple of years. He ended up getting tattoos all over the place, changed his religion from Buddhism to Christianity. Just did all of these things that were just not from the script.
Yeah.
And he came back, and then I was like, okay, wait. I don't have to confine myself to the prison that my parents had kept, confine myself to the script that, my parents have been pushing me to go towards. And then that was when I started to slowly but surely start saying no to certain things and saying you know what, fuck that. I'm just gonna go down the route that I feel's right for me, not that's right for you. And so now I've just gotten more and more comfortable with saying no. And I don't. It sounds bad, but the weight of their opinions don't hold as much now as it was before. If that makes sense.
I want to challenge that though, because we're in the disrupt phase, and I think you've definitely come a long way. I want to acknowledge that and credit you that you've had better boundaries. But what I sense is you don't want to talk to them every day, but you feel an obligation to, and you haven't said no. Let's do let's do one in depth. Let's do a proper catch up once a week instead of a daily superficial catch up every day.
I mean, like I said, it's a slow but sure step in saying no. I hopefully we'll get
That's
to
fair.
That
That's fair. Yeah.
It's straight up no to everything. This is. I just moved. I'm gonna just. But it's funny you mention that because it went from calling every day to me not picking up their phone like their phone calls out as often. Like maybe I might call them once every couple days as opposed to once a day now. It's like, okay, I just don't feel like I need to have this. I don't tell them that. I'm just doing my own thing. So
Do they feel you moving away?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And how are they reacting to that?
She's in Sydney. Obviously, it's like moved on really well.
Energetically moving away as well, right? Like, and when people do that, you know what happens, right? Like they will cling harder. The more you run away, the more they'll try to drag.
Especially when she's anxious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my mom's definitely done that.
So what would a secure person in that connection do? How would a Kuno?
I don't know. I just straight up tell her, I'm like, this is just part of life, and I'm living my own life. I'm learning to take care of myself now. I'm learning to pick up responsibility. I'm learning to carry my own emotional weight, and that's just part of how it is. But that's not to say I'm just going to disregard you in my life. You're always going to be an important part of my life. It's just in terms of the priorities and what I have to deal with now in this day and age, you just slightly lower.
What did she? You said that to her?
Yeah.
How did she respond?
I mean, she was affected by it, but I think she kind of realized, okay, it's just part of accepting, this is just part of life kind of thing. So, even another thing as well, like I straight up told him, like, look, I'm not following the script that you want me to go. Yeah. I'm not going to get a London girlfriend. I'm not doing this solely because I want to be rebellious. No, I'm just doing this because, like, I want to go down the path that I seem right. That seems right for me. If I find somebody that I truly connect with on a deeper level, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what ethnicity or gender or what have you. If that person is right for me, then I'm going to stick by it. I'm not just going to go down this path where that person has to have a good career, has to go down this, that. No, it's just, it doesn't align with who I am. And so the last 3-4 years, they've been really trying to say, why haven't you gone down this route? And this and that. I'm like, look, it's just not me. And even my cousins actually tried to help in. Like, they. Another thing is, there is a bit of a language barrier between me and my parents. Like growing up, because they can speak Sinhala really well, but English okay to bad. For me, English is like my mother tongue, right? In a way. But Sinhala is like something that I just leave in the back burners. I can speak with them every now and then, but at a foundational level. But that just makes it really hard for me to kind of convey certain concepts to them. So when it comes to these deep conversations, I can't tell them in their mother tongue. I can't say this in Sinhala in the same way they can't really say it in English. So that's why my cousins really helped out. One in particular, she really honed in, like harped on, saying like, look, he wants to go down his own route. You have to accept it, otherwise you're going to lose him forever, kind of thing. And so their perception's slowly changing, and which is good. So.
I mean, it sounds like you've done a lot. Obviously you've done a lot of work, and you're working on things, and you're always continuously growing. So I commend you for that. That's it's really good. And we already know what the issue is. I think one thing that will help you, what I was thinking is understanding the difference between self-esteem and self-worth. What's your thoughts about that?
You might want to give. How would you? Okay, well, that's something that I'm not too familiar with. Okay. Do you mind just?
Okay, because this is
I really want to know.
This concept is what changed me, because I used to have very extremely bad low self-esteem. Like I could completely empathize with what you went through. I had no backbone. I was like always nervous and shy and all that kind of stuff. And I basically forced myself to get out of it. Eventually, I don't know how. But one thing that really helped me was to understand the difference between self-esteem and self-worth. So self-esteem is essentially your rank value amongst other people. Like, the people at the top of the society, like CEOs, celebrities and all that, generally have high self-esteem because their worth or their value is deemed by society, how high or low they are on the totem pole, essentially. And if you base your worth on society's perceptions, values, whatever, it's going to fluctuate, because maybe you're a CEO, but what happens if you get fired you get kicked out, and then you go down? So it's a very volatile strategy to base your worth on, because it's not consistent by that definition. Self-worth, on the other hand,
it's intrinsic.
it's essentially intrinsic. It's what you decide. And there are some caveats with that, because you can't just be like, oh, I'm a billionaire, I'm the best person in the world, that's just the Lulu right there. However, if you focus more on putting all your energy, instead of trying to get validation from people, working on your self-esteem, saying, I need to get a job, I need this body, I need this car, this position, just to feel good about yourself, that's a losing strategy, because
it's hedonistic as well in a way, because once you reach a certain point, you're like, okay, I need to get better and better and better.
Well, you're never going to be on top, because there's always someone better than you.
It's just never winning.
Exactly. So if you shift from self-esteem, it's more of a mindset shift. If you say, I'm not going to worry about what other people think and say about me, because it's easy to say that. But the way to actually do it is to focus completely on self-worth. And self-worth is within your control. And it's how you define your own value. For instance, it could be like, I feel great when I'm buff, or I can do 20 push-ups or 50, 100 push-ups or whatever, or I know how to make people laugh, or I can bake a cake or whatever. And as long as you're always working things that you within your control, rather than things you can't control, like your job, relationship with people, your self-worth is, by definition, constantly going to keep improving, because you have complete control of that. You can say that, my worth is determined by my physique, how many books I read, what I put in my body, what kind of conversations I have with people, how do I make people feel, whatever, because these are all within your control, but you can't control self-esteem. So if you shift that change that mindset, that compounded over time will, it's crazy, because I don't give a fuck what people think. I'm like whatever, I don't care. I get rejected all the time, because I'm an actor primarily, but it doesn't do anything to me. Parents say stuff, I don't give a fuck, whatever. It's kind of bad sometimes, because they can say you're an arrogant person, you don't take any feedback. So you got to learn how to fine tune. You need some, not self-esteem, but you need some
gray area, or
you need to be able to receive feedback as well. So you can, but I primarily put 80% into self-worth. That's just it's a really powerful mindset shift.
It's an interesting food for thought. I think growing up as well, because harping on what you said earlier, I come from a brown family. Everyone's always competing against one another, so self-esteem is something they're just really pushing you down on, by saying, just comparing you to everyone else.
Well, it's survival. It's like everyone's trying to climb to the top, but they're stepping on each other. And it's like
a game of PvP. Everyone's
exactly. So you can't win. Even if you do get top, you're going to get pulled down by everyone else, because that whole survival mentality.
It's only temporary, like you said as well. You stay for a certain period of time, and then what happens if you lose your job? Then you go down the ranks. It's like, okay,
exactly.
It's not permanent. Okay.
So it's just a mindset shift, because instead of saying I'm gonna subconsciously we try to win people's approval by saying, I used to buy nice cars so I can impress girls or whatever, like that kind of things. But you say, I like this car, I'm gonna buy this car because I like this car, it makes me feel good. Rather than say, I'm gonna buy this so I can impress her or him or whatever, It's it's a very different mindset. It's essentially the same thing. You're doing the same thing, but you're doing it for different reasons.
Right. And then, I think that's where even that adds value to your authenticity as well. And that's why people like people who are authentic, who don't give a fuck about what other people care about.
And trust me, if you do this for I don't know how long it will take, but I just noticed my self-worth just kind of not skyrocketing, but it just went quite fast, because I had control. Noel could really tear it down. People can say things, but I see it through It's that's probably your projecting your own insecurity, but that's also learning the correct skills that allow you to improve your worth. Whether that's, for me, I learned a lot about psychology, about understanding how people think and work and all that, but also physique and all that kind of stuff. It all adds up to your self-worth, and then
So where does your self-worth stand at the moment, do you think?
It's a work in progress. I think I'm not quite there yet, because like I said, growing up, low self-esteem and all that, but now I feel like I'm taking control slowly but surely, but I'm not all the way there yet. So it's a slippery slope, but we'll get there at the end.
Where do you think you're stuck at the moment? What is keeping you from having higher levels of self-worth and self-esteem? Is there a particular block? I know it's is it still your mum, or is it something?
It's the way to calisthenics competition. You need to win that.
I think I'm just in a transitory period in my life where like I haven't gone the dream job that I wanted, and I haven't gone down the specific route yet, like, you know, rejections left, right, and center, and all this and that. I was working in a company for a month last year, and it was really toxic, and I ended up leaving because it just didn't feel, you know, the right space for me. And initially I thought it was going to be a great company, but, you know, it is what it is. And so now it's like, I'm still, how do I put it? So, because I did mechanical engineering, the reason why I did that is because I wanted to improve the lives of people one way or another, and I was particularly good at maths and physics. And engineering, I don't know if anyone knows this, but it's essentially applying maths and physics into the real world. You're building stuff, and, you know, just, you know, it has purpose, like, you know, whether it's a table or, you know, just anything around us, it's all built by engineers.
That's true.
And so, I guess back to what I said earlier, like, I'm still in that weird area where I love engineering, but there's also certain things about it which kind of bog me down, because the people that work in that space aren't necessarily empathetic. They're kind of like robots. They don't really have human emotion, if I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of scary. I can give you an example, like my manager. I worked with him for about 2 years before I came to New Zealand. And there was one guy, there was a foreman, and he's the one that's like taking care of everything out in the shop floor. So I was working in a truck and trailer manufacturing business. He's been working there for about 10, 15 years, right? So he knows everything, the nuances of how everything works and whatnot. One of the trailers come by, and basically they ended up he ended up opening the back door of the trailer, and the logs fell down.
Oh,
He's in his 60s, right?
It crushed him.
It crushed him. Like, he was on the ground, like, you know, the log was on him. Everyone was surrounding him. I was one of them. And then I was looking to see where my manager was. And I could just see him in the corner of a desk, just looking, peering out, and then just going back to work.
Jesus.
And he's only known him for 10 years. He's known this guy for 10 years. He's known like him way longer. So it's like, where's the empathy? Where's the compassion? It's like, I've seen that so much in the previous companies that I've worked at, and as much as I love, you know, doing what I do and working in that space, it's just, I don't know if I should be looking up to someone like that who lacks that kind of basic human decency. Or
Actually, I pulled some archetype cards before you told this story. I pulled the engineer,
which is like, wait, what?
The engineer card. So it's ability to give creative energy a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. Right, like that's the archetype of the engineer. In combination is the child wounded that you've gone through. So this is, through your experiences as a child, you've awakened compassion. And that's where you're different from engineers, where they think of it's so black and white, like just solution focused, it's taking the heart out of stuff. Your experiences have given you this sense of compassion and emotion that's tied to serving others. And if you can frame your experience that way, it's like and I think you have in lots of ways, it's like it's taught you to be more compassionate. It's taught you to give more and understand other people's experiences. And the engineer, if you can somehow mix the two, the combination of compassion with your engineering would be a perfect combination.
And so, sorry to interrupt you, but like that's where I'm kind of in that phase where I'm like, I love engineering, but which direction should I go in? Like, I don't know. I've already experienced one thing, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get back into that. But there's so many other industries that I want to get into, but it's just, I need to find that sweet spot that works for me, you know? But I guess, you know, that's, how do I put it? My self-esteem and self-worth are okay right now, but it'd be a lot better if I find that, you know, that dream job, so to speak.
So that's, okay, yeah. No, I'm trying to process what disrupt it in a healthy way, because what you said, the language pattern you said, when I get this, I'll feel that, like, or my self-worth will improve. So that's kind of dependent on something else. You become dependent rather than you have no control of that, because what if you never get that dream job? You know, and does that
tying into that
self-worth? So that I'm just trying to shift. Like it's just good to be conscious of your language, because sometimes we say, I'll be so much happier if I get this job, or this girl likes me, or whatever. And it's very common. Everyone does it. Like, I'll be happy when. And people die being miserable because they never get to that. You know?
I think there was a a quote by I think Naval Ravikant that said something. It's like desire is like a contract you keep to yourself until you get what you want. Or desire is a contract that you put on yourself to keep you unhappy until you get what you want. Or something like that. So yeah, pretty much what you said. You hit the nail on the coffin.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The key to manifesting is to have the energy of having what you have now. So part of what is blocking you from having that dream job is feeling like you don't have it. Like you're deprived, you don't have, it's missing, it's not part of you. I'm not fulfilled, I'm not happy, I need this. It's a desire and like a need for it, as opposed to if you can somehow, like, I know you have grateful as one of your tattoos, which I love. And do you have a really good, I'm assuming you must have a gratitude practice part of it.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah, great. And I think that's where gratitude brings abundance. So if you can somehow, when you don't have the things you want, how can you still be grateful and stay in a state of abundance without having that thing?
Yeah.
And then that thing just happens to arrive. It seems like magic, but that's how the universe works, right?
Yeah. I think it's also because like that's also ties back into my parents, because my mom's always saying you haven't gotten this, you haven't gotten that. So it's like kind of holding me back in that way. I don't want to be hearing those words from someone who's that I've looked up to growing up.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
So one thing that might help you is I'm just going to use the vague terms in a way. It's like your bank account is directly proportional to your self-worth.
Okay.
So the more you improve your self-worth, the more your bank account, whether that's money or success, whatever you define as success, you're more likely to attract, because you become the person that attracts these things rather than trying to work for it, because it's much easier to be the person that attracts these opportunities, these things that you want in life, than to chase them. It's like the whole butterfly analogy is like, if you want to catch a butterfly, you create
a garden as
rather
opposed
than
to chasing butterflies.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't manufacture this. I pulled cards before you arrived, kind of channeling what energy and where you're at in the chapter. And I pulled the Wheel of Fortune first, was the first card. So things are getting better. You're moving forward. Things that haven't worked out in the past are positive energies entering your life, which you've talked about. There was like 2 love cards. So there's an Ace of Cups, which is new love, and Knight of Cups, which is being open to love, and like it is also showing yourself self-love. I think it's the ability to be open, have your heart open to love, but also treating yourself with love. And I think I don't know if you've said this on camera, but you said you've started seeing someone, so the new love has come on board. I feel like you become more open to receiving love and giving yourself, talking to yourself with love. Is that fair?
It's getting there. Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't done that in the past, but ever since I moved, I've been slowly but surely making it a routine today. Like, hey, you're doing well, just slowly but surely, going in the right direction. So.
You are. And then I've got some future cards for you, and I think they're very tied in. I think you're at a stage where you're approaching Saturn return, because you're turning 27 this year, right? And around this time is when Saturn it takes about 28, 29 years to circle around the sun. And it's coming back to the time you were born. It has like about 2 years it starts kicking in. So you'll notice people that don't serve you will start to fall away. You'll think about the next 28, 29 years around the sun and think like, who do I want to be? And I think you're already doing this. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to hang around? Who will take this journey with me? And this is the long-term planning card, 3 of Wands. So you can see she's looking out into the horizon, looking out in the future and thinking about where she wants to go. And this is the stage for you. And I think you need to take some time out. Like, this is the Hermit card. Take some time for yourself. Make sure you have time for yourself to really connect with you. Do you meditate much?
Nope.
Okay.
I tried to.
Okay. This is a sign for you to meditate. Like, have a practice of like taking time for yourself. It could be walks in nature. It could be just meditating and sitting with the energy and like, where do you want to go? Because ultimately you're a seeker. This is your archetype. You're a person who has a thirst for knowledge and wisdom and truth, and you want to seek it out. You have a lot of Aries and fire energy in your chart, I've seen from astrologically. So you want to pursue these things. you want to seek out, you'd be willing to seek out things that may challenge your view of the world. And I think you've been open to that, but there's so much more left, and I'm excited for your journey. I'll hand it over to Damo for the final visualization.
I want to give you this. It's like a visualization technique, tool, whatever you want to call it. It can be extremely powerful. So the more you embrace it, the more powerful it can be. And you guys at home can do it as well. Just bring some tissues. Make sure you have some tissues nearby. And you may or may not cry, but let's just get into it. Did you want to do this? Okay, sure. So just get comfortable. Just relax. Close your eyes and just take a deep breath in. And just let it go slowly. Just take another deep breath in. And just slowly let it go. Now, I want you to imagine that you're in the cinema. But this is no ordinary cinema. It's a cinema of your mind. And there's this big screen right in front of you. And you're the only person here. You've got the whole cinema to yourself. And whatever you see on this massive screen, just stick with. Don't try to overanalyze this. Just accept it. So you're sitting down and you're watching this big screen. And the movie that's playing is your life story. And I want you to just notice this movie that's playing in front of you. Notice what scene you're in, what are you doing, who you're talking to, and more importantly, how you feel. Now, I want you to imagine just see a pattern that keeps repeating in your life. It could be any pattern. It could be it could be a breakup or an argument with your parents or not getting the job you wanted. Whatever the pattern is, just stick with whatever comes to mind first. Something that just keeps happening over and over and you just don't know why. And just see the scene. See what you see, hear what you hear, and more importantly, feel what you feel. Now I want you to change the scene into another scene, but it's the same pattern. It's the same pattern, but happening in a different context. And just see it, hear what's been said, and feel what you're feeling. Now, I want you to imagine you have a magical remote. And you take it out of your pocket and you point at the screen because you're curious, why does this pattern keep happening? Why does this keep happening to me? So you point this magical remote at the screen and you notice there's a rewind button. And you press rewind. And it goes all the way back to when the pattern first happened, when it first emerged. And just notice what's going on. Watch yourself in this scene that started it all. What was said? What did you feel? Just let that really sit inside your body. Just notice, where does it feel in your body? It could be in your heart, it could be in your stomach, it could be in your back, your throat. Wherever it is, just notice where it is. And just feel that feeling. Now, you take that the magic remote, and you notice there's another button in the middle, and it says edit. And you're curious. It's like, what would happen if I press this? So you press the edit button, and all of a sudden, you get sucked into the screen. You become part of the scene. You're in the scene, but it's frozen. And you're like, whoa, I'm in the scene that where it started, where everything started. And just watch yourself in that frame. And I want you to just give what that younger version of you needed. Tell them what they needed to hear at that moment. What do they need to feel? You can say what you want. You can say like, you're enough, or I love you, or you are safe. Whatever you need to say. You can give them a hug. You can do whatever you need to do to make that younger version of you feel what they needed to feel at that moment. Just really let that sit in. And if there's anyone else in the scene, maybe a mother, a father figure, a friend, just give them what they need, or try to see it from where they are standing. Why did they act like that? Why did they say that? And as soon as you get close and you can see why they acted the way they did, you can give them what they needed as well. Maybe a hug, maybe a smile, maybe a thank you. But I don't need you to protect them anymore. Whatever you need to say to them, you can say. And when you've done what you needed to do in the scene, you can come back out of this scene and just go back into your cinema of your mind. And you can watch this new scene play out differently. How it should have been, or how you want it to be. Where that younger version of you is actually smiling, is happy. Where the other people in the scene are actually different. They're more positive, they're lighter. Because you were given what you needed to get at that moment. And you press play on the scene, and you go back. You can continue watching this movie. And know that your path forward is going to be different. That pattern might come up every now and then, but something's changed in you. You feel different. You feel hopeful, optimistic, even happy and powerful. And that feeling inside, that what you felt before, has dissipated and has changed into something warmer, something lighter. And just feel that where it lies in your body. And if you want, you can put your hand physically on that part of your body and just really let that feeling radiate throughout your body. It could be your heart. Just really feel that moment that you've made. You've made a decision. You've changed the path going forward. You've healed this pattern that keeps coming up. And you can slowly come back to this moment. So whenever you put your hand on the heart, because that's what you did, it's what they call an anchor, and you can access that same emotion, what you felt, and you can just reassure yourself that you have that version of you has gotten what it needs, and doesn't have to act out, doesn't need to feel bad, doesn't need to feel disempowered and angry and hurt and betrayed. You've changed your story. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for doing that at home. If you don't know, and hope you cried as well. But just acknowledging, I want to acknowledge us that for being so open and so courageous to just constantly move forward and improve, because that's important, because you can't change the past. We can change our relationship to the past, but we can't change the past and what happened. What we can do is just keep moving forward, and we can change our story. Yeah, so yeah. And as usual, if you have any questions, thoughts, feedback, we'd love to hear it. And yeah, just keep in touch. We'll see you guys in the next one, and hopefully we can change your story as well. Peace.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us for the Satori experience. We hope it sparks some insight and inspiration on your journey.
And if you want more of the Satori experience, make sure you like and subscribe so we can give you the best experience possible in the next one. And if you know someone that can benefit from this, please share this episode. It's great karma. We'll see you in the next one.